So science first, let's look into this. Then let's go into, what makes psychology a scientific study field. Let's go into statistics. Let's go into observation. Let's go into tests, multiple choice tests. Let's go into statistical long-term evaluations and those kind of things. And what Dr. Adrian Rain does, looking into the brain with an fMRI machine scanner, while they are doing some cognitive tasks, then that gives a lot more insight into what's going on. And also, they can also see, of course, they can see all the brain formations. They don't have to cut a brain open. The machine looks into it, can actually slice it into many different perspectives, into different slice points in the coordinate system, and see where everything is and how big everything is. It can show you the formations just by themselves, and you can see the size of it. So when the amygdala size is not fully developed, that person is not capable of feeling total compassion. And it's a little bit like when they say ignorance is bliss. Some people that don't have the compassion center so built out, they probably have a little bit more bliss or something. I don't know. It's just more bliss obliviousness. So it's basically the same thing, bliss and obliviousness. Obliviousness in terms of, being chill. Like, I hear that word a lot, so that's something that people also value very highly. And so anyone who cares is being shunned, obviously, because the vast majority of people don't have that caring. So therefore, it's not the highest on their priority list in terms of coolness. So when most people don't care, then whatever is regarded as cool by the common consensus by most people is that what most people are capable of doing. Okay, most people are religious, so religiousness is then regarded as okay because most people do it. Okay, so most people don't help someone else, even though this is actually some kind of mandate in most religions, but it's interestingly ignored by the very fundamentalist religious people around the world, with all religions. It's conveniently ignored. The very thing that is actually sort of like a constitutional rule, like that's like the first commandment, with the first imperative. One of the first imperatives is, to help someone else, to feel compassion and to be good with each other and to be helpful and to feel something. And in the Buddhist religion, don't kill an animal. It's very, very high on that list, from Gautama Buddha. Interestingly, it is ignored because it does. Because you see here biology overriding even a religious commandment. Then there's also religious commandment that were written by psychopaths and sociopaths, of course, and then the whole thing starts to contradict itself, and more people scribble their own commandments into it, their own corporate facilitations and corporate clauses, and so that's Gautama Buddha is the ultimate ethics philosopher. So Gautama Buddha is the infinite cosmos. It's that is the soul, is the infinite cosmos. When the infinite cosmos is completely is animating that living being, whether it's an animal or human, then that being functions completely from that pureness. And this would only go into a being that already has humongous amygdala and compassion center. Okay, so whether it's a giraffe or a dog or a human, and everything they do, everything that being does when it reincarnates, it is functioning out of compassion and does everything he or she does. Jiddu Krishnamurti, Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, many animals, a dog, a white Great Dane. It's pureness, complete pureness. So, and Gautama Buddha wrote, or I don't know, the other people wrote it down for him, or he wrote it down. So, very important to remember, do not kill another living being, do not kill an animal, do not eat an animal flesh. You look at the regions where they have a lot of Buddhists, and you see that a lot of people that tell you they adhere to that religion are not even vegetarian. A lot of people are breaking all of those pure ethics rules, and they do this because they don't have compassion. So the biology overrides the commandments. In this case, it's a terrible thing. But then there's also cases like, for example, I met a woman in LA. We would go to her store at night. I think it was Rite Aid. We would go there with our two Great Danes, Ludwig and Samantha, and Sherry was her name. I love her dearly. And she would come out of the store to greet the dogs. Every time we come there, she'd be excited and talking to us, and she will bring a bag of jerky. And, I am against jerky, of course, but, she's a Christian. She is not informed about vegetarianism, or was not at that time. So, but she loves the dogs, so she gives the dogs jerky, and they love the jerky. So, and they love her for this love, and that's what matters. So that's pure love. The love for the dogs. She wasn't consciously attuned and aware about the jerky being coming from the bodies of other animals. So it was not attuned. So I'm not holding this against her. Okay. This takes education. This takes a lot of schooling and a lot of reading, and sometimes people are in such habits that it might take years to undo these old habits, and this out of mind, out of sight, and oh, I'm going to dinner and they serving this, and they just gobble it down and not thinking about it again. That could be also a caring person. So I'm not holding it against them, But we do have to make an effort to educate ourselves on veganism, at least become a vegetarian, then become a vegan, whole food vegan, make this transition, make this effort towards kindness, living kind. And I know that Sherry would do this, if we had the chance to meet again more often, if now we moved away. And I saw her again. I couldn't believe it that I saw her again in the different area. I'm not gonna say where. And I was so amazed. I gave her a hug. I was so happy to see her. Oh, I love you, Sherry, if you see this video. So anyway, so the other example is, Sherry as a Christian, and growing up not in a very educated family, so just the basics, and then ending up having to work night shift at Rite Aid. That's a hard life, So, but the amygdala are strong. The compassion center is there. What we call the heart. The heart chakra, and she loves the dogs, and she comes out there and gives them jerky, and it's lovely and it's wonderful. And when Ludwig died, I'll never forget, she, even though at that time I was an atheist at that time, and everything religious was extremely irritating for me. It still is, but when she said, she was very sad, and she said, I know he went to heaven. And it didn't irritate me at all, because that coming from Sherry, who is religious, and her religion, the Christian religion, isn't even telling people. This is not even written into the Bible, into their doctrines. So they're normally very anthropocentric. They put the human on the highest pedestal, and there's all kinds of speciesism in the Bible and so on. But yet she said right away, oh, I know he went to heaven, So, I call it the Orion Nebula and beyond. So this comes from her biology, that statement. You see, that's her biology. So our biology always speaks much louder than the indoctrination. That always overrides the indoctrination. Even though the indoctrination is a tough cookie. So indoctrination it's like total brainwashing from day one, and people hear stories, the same laws and dictations, and they think that's written in concrete, and there's nothing they can do would never question this, which is all terrible. We need to question indoctrination, very, very important. But I see that apparently biology still overrides the indoctrination. So particularly when it comes to very, very strong biological drives, which is the amygdala, which is the mother instinct, which is love. So when someone has that in them, it doesn't matter how indoctrinated they could be a Muslim, they could be drilled their whole life as a jihadist to cut people's heads off, and they will not do it. Okay? They will never hurt a dog. Someone who has large compassion center in the Middle East will never hurt a dog. Okay? There's a woman in Iran indoctrinated with the Islamic religion, and she's rescuing dogs every day. That comes from her amygdala. Love is stronger than anything else. I make another part.